The Philippines stands at a crossroads facing one of the most consequential decisions in its modern history. Caught between the strategic interests of the United States and China, Manila finds itself under intense international scrutiny. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s administration has pivoted back toward Washington, seeking to strengthen old alliances and reinforce security ties. This marks a sharp turn from his predecessor's Beijing-friendly approach, which prioritized economic engagement with China. The shift is a direct response to China's growing assertiveness in the South China Sea, where repeated incursions and aggressive tactics threaten Philippine sovereignty and the livelihoods of its coastal communities. Every move, military, diplomatic, or economic, now carries enormous consequences, not just for the government but for millions of Filipinos. The challenge is clear: secure national interests and protect sovereignty, without being dragged into a superpower conflict that could destabilize the region. The U.S. offers security guarantees and military support, promising to stand by the Philippines in times of crisis. Meanwhile, China dangles lucrative economic opportunities, from infrastructure investments to expanded trade, hoping to sway Manila's allegiance. This forces Manila to walk a diplomatic tightrope, balancing the benefits and risks of each relationship with careful calculation. The stakes are high, not just for the Philippines but for the millions of people whose futures depend on these choices. All of Southeast Asia is watching Manila's choices, aware that the outcome could reshape the region's balance of power. Geography makes the Philippines a linchpin in the U.S. Indo-Pacific strategy, a vital outpost for projecting influence and maintaining stability. At the same time, it makes the country a target for China's ambitions, as Beijing seeks to expand its reach and control. President Marcos's government has decided that the risks of inaction outweigh the risks of a stronger U.S. alliance, believing that a firm stance is necessary for national survival. This calculation is driving bold new initiatives, from defense modernization to expanded international cooperation. These moves are already reshaping Southeast Asia's security landscape, prompting neighboring countries to reconsider their own strategies. The Philippines' choices today will echo for decades, influencing not only its own future, but also the trajectory of the entire region. Manila's pivotal decision is setting the tone for a new era in Philippine foreign policy, one defined by courage, complexity, and the hope for lasting peace. In 2025, President Marcos Jr.'s visit to Washington marked a turning point. Meeting with President Trump, Marcos signaled a decisive return to the U.S. alliance. The visit was more than symbolism. It was about securing real support amid rising tensions with China. The U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty was reaffirmed as the cornerstone of Philippine security. Joint statements challenged China's claims and underscored a shared commitment to international law. The visit also set the stage for deeper economic and military cooperation. For the U.S., it was a strategic win, reinforcing its Indo-Pacific partnerships. The agreements reached have already led to new trade deals and expanded military exercises. The Philippines, under Marcos, made clear it would no longer placate Beijing at the expense of its own interests. This bold move is forcing other Southeast Asian nations to reconsider their own positions. The alliance reset has reshaped the region's strategic dynamics. The new U.S.-Philippines Trade and Economic Accord, signed in July 2025, marks a pivotal moment in the relationship between the two countries. After months of tense negotiations and public debate, both sides finally reached an agreement that will have far-reaching consequences for the Philippine economy and its people. But this deal came at a steep price, sparking anxiety among Filipino workers, business owners, and policymakers alike. Filipino exports to the U.S. now face a 19% tariff, making it much harder for local products to compete in the American market, and threatening the livelihoods of thousands of exporters. Meanwhile, American goods enter the Philippines tariff-free, flooding local markets with cheaper alternatives and putting additional pressure on domestic producers. President Marcos called it a tough but necessary compromise to preserve jobs and maintain access to vital U.S. markets, emphasizing that the alternative could have been even more damaging. The deal hits key industries like electronics and garments, which are the backbone of Philippine exports, threatening their competitiveness and forcing companies to rethink their strategies. The government frames this as a sacrifice for long-term security and investment, arguing that the benefits of a stronger alliance outweigh the immediate economic pain. Meanwhile, local industries must adapt to increased competition from U.S. imports, investing in innovation and efficiency to survive in a tougher market. The hope, U.S. security guarantees will create a stable environment for growth, deterring external threats and encouraging foreign investment in the long run. This trade deal is part of a broader U.S. policy designed to strengthen alliances and maintain influence in Southeast Asia amid rising regional tensions. Similar terms have been imposed on other Southeast Asian nations, reshaping the region's economic landscape and forcing countries to make difficult choices. For the Philippines, accepting these terms was the price of reaffirming its security alliance and ensuring continued military cooperation with the U.S. The gamble, that security benefits and future investments will ultimately outweigh the economic pain and uncertainty faced today. The outcome of this decision will shape the nation's future for years to come, influencing everything from job opportunities to the country's role in the region. The trade-off is stark, and the stakes are high, but, for now, Manila sees no better alternative on the horizon. The Philippines is betting on security and long-term stability over short-term economic gain, hoping that this difficult choice will ultimately secure a brighter future. The U.S.-Philippines alliance is most visible in the military sphere, where cooperation has reached unprecedented levels in recent years. The Mutual Defense Treaty remains central to this partnership, and President Marcos has made it a top priority to modernize the armed forces of the Philippines, aiming to transform it into a more capable and responsive force. The U.S. is providing advanced equipment, cutting-edge technology, and increased military financing, helping the Philippines upgrade its capabilities to meet new security challenges. Training programs and technology transfers are also enhancing the skills of Filipino troops, ensuring they can operate and maintain modern systems effectively. The deployment of U.S. missile systems during the 2025 Balikatan exercises sent a clear deterrent message to Beijing, signaling a new era of military readiness. These were the largest joint drills yet, involving thousands of troops and showcasing deepening trust, interoperability, and a shared commitment to regional security. Under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, the U.S. now has access to 9 Philippine military sites, expanding its operational reach in the region. These sites are strategically located for rapid response to crises in the South China Sea and Taiwan Strait, making the Philippines a pivotal player in regional security. Hosting U.S. forces strengthens the Philippines' defense and raises the cost of aggression, while also providing valuable training and support. The partnership is a direct response to China's growing military power and assertiveness in contested waters. Joint exercises, intelligence sharing, and access agreements all bolster Manila's defense posture, making it more resilient in the face of external threats. This alignment is not without risk, but for many Filipino leaders, it is seen as essential for national survival and sovereignty. The Philippines is making a calculated bet on U.S. support, hoping that a stronger alliance will deter potential adversaries. The military upgrade is the hard edge of its new foreign policy, reflecting a determination to defend its interests in an increasingly uncertain region. China has responded to Manila's U.S. pivot with a mix of warnings and pressure. Beijing views expanded U.S. military ties as direct provocations and has cooled diplomatic relations. Chinese vessels have intensified harassment of Philippine supply missions in the South China Sea, testing Manila's resolve. At the same time, China offers economic incentives, promising investment and trade if the Philippines shifts course. Beijing's dual approach aims to divide Philippine leaders and business elites. China is also sensitive to Manila's moves on Taiwan, issuing stern warnings over any perceived shift. The pressure campaign is designed to make the Philippines reconsider its alignment. The Marcos administration faces a relentless test of its foreign policy resolve. The South China Sea is the region's most dangerous flashpoint, with the Philippines at its center. China's aggressive enforcement of its claims has led to frequent confrontations at Scarborough and Second Thomas Shoals. The U.S. has made its defense commitment to the Philippines explicit, raising the stakes for any Chinese aggression. Manila's renewed confidence is backed by this security guarantee, but every incident now tests U.S. credibility. The Philippines is also building new partnerships, notably with India, to strengthen its maritime security. Joint naval exercises and new defense deals, like the BrahMos missile purchase, are part of this strategy. The conflict is about more than territory. It's a fight over the rules-based order. The international community supports the Philippines, but Beijing rejects legal rulings. The region's peace depends on how this volatile standoff is managed. Despite its U.S. pivot, the Marcos administration claims to pursue an independent foreign policy. The goal, be a friend to all, enemy to none, while leveraging security ties with Washington and economic links to Beijing. This balancing act is increasingly difficult as both superpowers demand loyalty. The Philippines is using its strategic importance to maximize autonomy, not become a pawn. Diversifying partnerships like the new India alliance is a hedge against both Chinese assertiveness and U.S. unpredictability. The success of this approach will be measured by its ability to safeguard sovereignty and promote development. Manila is asserting its agency, refusing to be a bystander in the superpower contest. The path is risky, but it's a deliberate choice for the nation's future. The Philippines' U.S. alignment has unsettled ASEAN, a bloc built on consensus and neutrality. Some members, like Vietnam, quietly welcome Manila's stance as a counterweight to China. Others, with closer economic ties to Beijing, fear increased militarization and instability. The Philippines' pivot challenges ASEAN's tradition of hedging between great powers. The bloc now faces internal divisions, risking its ability to act collectively. Manila's choices are a lesson in the costs and complexities of navigating superpower rivalry. The Philippines is charting a new course, seeking security through alliance but striving for independence. Its journey will shape the region's future for better or worse.